This is the Effing One Podcast with Adam and Luke.
As we talk everything Formula One motor racing.
G'day, welcome to Effing One Podcast, Australia's best and only Formula One podcast. At Baku, the spectacular city surrounded by a medieval castle in the country of Azerbaijan, saw Lewis douche canoe Hamilton trip over into victory with Kimi last lap Raikkonen disobeyed team orders by finishing in front of his teammate, and Sergio Tijuana Tesla Perez do what he does every so often and steal a podium. But that was just the start of all the fun in Baku. But to dissect this exotic lamb spice over the hot coals race, we need to turn to the Ayatollah of rock and roller, the chic of street tweak. Luke, by the way, love the traditional Azerbaijani outfit. Is that the chukka, the traditional chukka you're wearing right now?
That is the chukka.
It really suits you.
Thank you.
Luke, salam alaikum, my friend.
And to you too.
It was an action-packed race at Baku, wasn't it?
It really was. There was action everywhere. Maybe not for the middle part, but in terms of Red Bull racing and all the bargy lap one and towards the end of the race, it was exciting. It was good fun.
Full on. Give us the traditional Lucas rundownus, if you wouldn't mind.
The Lucas rundownus.
Okay, we're at the lights and we're racing. Go, go, go. Luke, what happens?
Well, lap one, first lap chaos. Ocon into Raikkonen, Sorokin into to Hulkenberg and Alonso. And Ericsson was incredibly pinched by Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen just seemed to want to drive into a wall. That wasn't the racing line. Suck my balls.
Crazy Dane. Yes, suck my... That's his nickname.
They were fighting.
Yeah.
They were fighting.
They were just at it.
It's like the Danes and the Swedes. The two Vikings.
The two Viking tribes don't like each other. Do they?
Not at all.
Not anymore.
No. So there was debris. There's safety car.
Already.
They have a restart. And the restart, it gets punchy.
We're racing again.
We're racing. A lot of the people were struggling on the super softs to get them up to temp. The ones on the ultra softs seem to have a much easier time of it. Max made a great move on the inside of the personality.
One of very few.
One of few that he made it stick. It kind of caught Daniel by surprise. And he even said after the race, he goes, I shouldn't have left him that room. And
should have done what Max would do. Just move once, twice, three times. A lady, and I blocked you. Sorry.
We've already gone there.
We have, haven't we?
Then we went into lap 10. Hulkenberg hit the wall. He does his traditional Azerbaijani dance and hits a wall and takes himself out of what could have been a really, really good race for him and Renault. Lap 12, the Bulls bang wheels for the first time, side by side exiting turn one. Max kind of opened his steering a little bit. They brushed wheels and nearly put Daniel into the wall. And next up is lap 27. What happened there? The show continues, fighting for fourth and fifth.
Ooh, more fireworks.
Yeah. Daniel spent a good few laps sitting behind. Just they were both preserving their battery and like recharging their batteries to have a full tilt at each other again. Again, for fourth and fifth. Max, he tried to go around the outside again. He kind of made the pass, but he didn't block off the inside for turn two again. He probably, if he moved straight over to the left, he probably could have blocked Max off, but he didn't, and he left the inside to Max again. Max got it. And then we went into later on, lap 35. Daniel finally made the pass, a good pass around the outside, and then 3 laps later he pitted. I knew as soon as Daniel pitted that we needed to put in a really good outlap. Everyone seemed to be struggling on tyre warm-ups, and even on the ultra softs, which is what Red Bull went with. He came out, and Max had put in a really good lap on the super softs, came in, and then he was about a second and a half, 2 seconds in front of him. But Max had to go through that tyre warm-up phase that Daniel struggled with, and then it all went grey.
Crazy time.
Lap 40, Daniel going down the straight. Max was weaving just to kind of break the toe so he doesn't get a good slipstream. And then it went down into turn 1. I was thinking to myself, he'll jink him this time. He'll go right, make him go right a bit, and then dive on the inside, because he hadn't had the inside to turn 1 all day. He'd always gone around the outside. And I think he wanted to flip the script, and he was a bit frustrated by what had happened in the pit lane.
Mm-hmm.
Then, he went right. Max jinked right just to block a little bit, and then Daniel just sent it.
Yep.
Balls to the wall, straight in, all commitment. Some say too committed, but I think if you look at any of Daniel's passes, it's always 100% commitment.
Yep. We'll talk more about in depth because there are a lot of experts, a lot of talk. Twitter's gone crazy.
Oh, it's mad.
The world of Formula One's gone crazy about this collision. We'll go into more details a little bit later on, but for the moment, we'll just keep moving through. Massive collision. Both Red Bulls are out. Safety car comes out.
Yep.
And then what happens right after that safety car starts?
After the safety car.
Some sweet overtaking by Sebastian Vettel.
Sweet overtaking. And by overtaking, we mean dropping back 2 places in the 4th position, giving his teammate the go-ahead to keep going. Locking up big time. Smoke everywhere. And I haven't seen so much smoke since the last time I went to Byron. And he just dove in, locked up, made the mistake, ran wide. Bottas stayed at first. Lewis was now second, and then Raikkonen got him on the entry into 2. Then after that, all hell broke loose behind them. Gasly and Magnussen had a bit of a coming together, which wasn't really commented on or seen until after the race. They showed the pictures of it. That left debris on the track. That debris is what Valtteri Bottas ran over. He gets a puncture.
Jeez.
Lewis inherits a win. Then Perez, the Tijuana Tussler, makes a move over, an easy move around the vibration of the Ferrari and Vettel's car. And there's your podium. You've got Lewis Hamilton, followed by Kimi Raikkonen and Sergio Perez.
Unlikely Sergio, but I think you correct me if I'm wrong, I think he is the current Baku points leader for all 3 years. If you take in consideration all those years, he has the most number of points, which is quite surprising.
I'm not going to correct you because you're right.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there's the summary. Luke, crazy race. Baku delivers again. The first year, a little bit boring when... who won first year? It was a Mercedes. It was... Nico. That was a pretty boring race.
Yeah, the untalented Nico.
Last year, full of surprises. Actions aplenty. Dan wins. This year, more action, more craziness, and Hamilton wins. But we need to get into what actually happened. Can we just rewind a little bit and take a look at that controversial collision that we need to get this off from word go. I feel like we need to get this out and aired, get the dirty laundry out.
Is that the one between Magnussen and Ericsson?
No.
No.
This is the Red Bull collision, the 2 teammates that were going hammer and tongs, and it was good, clean, reasonably clean, fair racing for most part, where Max was taking Dan was retaking, pits. Okay, firstly, before we go into the big collision, can we talk about, there was a couple of dicey moments that Max pulled some pretty uncool teammate moves on Dan, wheel touching coming out of that corner. Yeah. Didn't leave any room for Dan. And like you said, opened up is that your take on it? Open
up the steering. So when you're turning into a corner, and then as you're exiting the corner, you're opening up your steering. If you've got someone on your outside, you probably want to try and avoid contact. Just lucky it was wheel to wheel. If it was wheel to front wing or wheel to barge board,
that's a puncture.
That's damage to both cars, and it could be significant enough to push someone into the wall. Yes, we're an Australian Formula 1 podcast, and yes, we are rooting for Daniel Ricciardo, but I think anyone who is watching...
No, I think we're being fair and balanced. Like, I think everyone agrees that move out of that corner where he touched wheels, I'd be surprised if most people don't agree with that was Max's fault, and that's when it started to get a little bit too full on, where it wasn't just clean racing. Suddenly it was kind of spiteful from 2 teammates.
Yeah, and, from Max's point of view, Daniel's had the run of the green lately, and now it's he wanted to kind of prove what he had, and he made a good move, got in front of him. Daniel took a few opportunities to try and get past him, but Max wasn't going to let go. And I think at that point, Red Bull should have stepped in and said, Max, let him go.
Yeah, after that wheel touch.
Yeah,
that seemed like
let's let him go.
The straw that broke the camel's back.
And do what they've done in the past to say, hey, we're going to let him go, and if after the pit stops you guys are close, then we'll swap the positions back and you guys can fight. But there's no sort of hard-nosed structure in Red Bull to go, no, guys, that's not good enough.
Yep. Where every other team would say, okay, Dan's faster. Tell you what, even if he's coming out in the overcut, he's still behind you. Max, let him go. He's the faster driver. That would have happened in, what do you think, most other teams?
Most other teams would have gone, all right, he's a little bit quicker, let him go. And if he doesn't pull ahead, we'll swap the positions again.
Right.
And they've done it before. They've done it with Kvyat. They've done it with Max and Daniel to go, hey, if he makes up the spot ahead because you don't seem to have that pace, then we'll swap the position back. But if he does keep going, then that's good for the team.
Yep.
But they didn't do that. The thing is, when the clash happened, they were 20-odd seconds behind Hamilton.
Yep.
They were fighting for they were only fighting for pride. They weren't fighting for their team. They weren't thinking about their team.
No.
And that's why the team was so ticked off. But Red Bull, they don't have a hard-nosed approach. When, in Malaysia and Mark Webber was leading the race in the Multi-21, when they said, oh, Seb, don't be silly, instead of going, no, Seb, stay behind him and be strong about it, they weren't. They were soft with it and going, oh, don't be silly, Seb.
Yeah.
Like, Mark Webber turned his engine down, which he was asked to and did. Sebastian didn't, giving him an unfair advantage.
Yep.
Mark never turned his engine back up. But that's the line that Red Bull just goes.
And how much
it wouldn't happen in Mercedes.
No.
Toto Wolff would be banging everything.
Yeah.
Be breaking tables.
And certainly not in Ferrari. They wouldn't even be anywhere near each other.
No.
Sebastian would have been well past him.
Yeah.
Well past him. Poor old Kimi.
Shot straight through.
He would have had to stop.
Locked up.
Yeah. Go to the deli, pick up some milk, and then come back.
Yeah.
And then he would have been allowed to continue on. But how much blame does Red Bull... Surely Red Bull must take... They've copped no blame. They've put it all on the drivers, and yet it just seemed like you'd sit there and watch going, this is going to end really bad, and surely someone from the pit wall is going to say something, and they take no responsibility. I find that hard to believe.
When it happened, they just seemed to, like, you could tell the frustration on the pit wall. But in terms of management style to stop that, there was nothing.
And then when Dan comes out in the overcut, he's behind Max. They say, all right, mate, you're going to have to do it again. Go get him.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Yeah, wave that red flag to the ball.
Make a call to Max and say, Max, sorry, that didn't really work out. He's clearly faster. Move aside. Let's get some points for the team.
Yeah. And Red Bull has suffered with points from the two races that they've DNF'd in Bahrain and this one.
And what an opportunity when you think about the guys that are winning at the moment. They're tripping over and winning.
Oh,
Sebastian, Hamilton. No one's driving very well except for Dan.
That's about it.
Yeah, Bottas has been driving well, but he's just unlucky and he can't overtake. He's just not going to win a Grand Prix.
No.
Unless everyone else falls over.
Could we just put it? Maybe he will never win a Grand Prix this year. He's in a position to, but I think he's walked over a black cat, broken mirrors,
bores himself to death, just falls asleep with boredom at himself.
His engineer's just asleep. Do whatever you want.
You're not going to win this anyway. Okay, so let's rewind a little bit to this big incident because I want you to talk us through. A lot of people are saying that it's Max's fault. Niki Lauda has said that it's 70% Max's fault, 30% Dan's fault.
The FIA steward said 50-50. They're both to blame.
But is that because Dan put his hand up for the team and said, yes, I also made a mistake?
I think both of them would have went into the stewards' meeting afterwards
with the hat in hand
and gone, I don't want to get Max in trouble. Max doesn't want to get me in trouble. So if we play the team game, too late now.
Yeah.
Then you'll both come away with a reprimand.
Yep.
No one's going to have any grid penalties. There's not going to be any fines. It's just a racing incident.
Yep.
And if it was anyone else, I think there would have been some serious discussions of, you've moved twice under braking.
But most of the experts are saying it's Max's fault. The majority are. Even Ross Brawn said that Dan was just a passenger in that situation because the lack of downforce, he had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I want to get your take on who's to blame and if there was a double move, because some people are saying there was only one move, some saying there was two. Is the two move still illegal?
This is the ruling on if you check the Formula 1 rules on Formula1.com, you'll see more than one change of direction to defend a position is not permitted. If a driver has moved off the racing line while defending their position, they may move back, but must ensure that there is at least one car's width between their own car and the edge of the track. So that's in reference to if he's moving back to the racing line. The racing line was on the right-hand side. They were on the left-hand side of the grid as they came down. Daniel moved slightly to the right to balk him and make him move. So he's forcing him going, I'll go this way.
Yep.
So Max has moved. That's Max's one move. He didn't move by much. And in the stewards, they said he didn't move a lot, but he did move.
Yep.
And that's when you could see as he saw Max's car moved out, you could see Ricciardo's steering wheel moving back to the left. As soon as Max reacted, he went under. He had the move, and then when he's gone to the left, Max has moved back to the left again, which has it's pretty much your front wing on the right hand side was nothing. You need when you make an overtaking maneuver from 300 kilometers an hour, you need all the downforce, all the braking, and all the engine to be able to stop the car. And Daniel would have stopped the car.
Well, he hit the brakes, but nothing happened because of that lack of downforce.
Yeah. And people just think, oh, it's just brake pressure. No, it's not. You see when anyone makes an overtaking maneuver, they try and do it in clean air. They don't do it right behind someone because they don't have that downforce. So he's gone back to the left. Max has and instinctually done it, and he's done it to Raikkonen, he's done it to Vettel, and both Raikkonen and Vettel have said there's always going to be a big accident if he keeps doing this. Then they brought the Verstappen rule out.
The double move on the under braking?
The double move to defend.
To defend.
Yeah. So it's you shouldn't be moving under braking anyway. Once you've made a decision, this is what you're doing, you can't just sort of jink left and jink right because the person behind you is committed.
So he's clearly broken the rule that was named after himself, the Verstappen rule, but yet that doesn't seem to be an issue.
They sort of lifted, because it was very black and white. It was very, this is the Verstappen rule. And now they're not, it's black and white. Now there's shades of grey. As with anything in rules, there's now shades of grey. And yeah, he got away with moving the second time. They did say that he moved a second time. Ross Brawn, who has nothing to do with stewards or anything like that, he's just an
impartial.
Yeah,
like Niki Lauda was. So that's where I take most of my info from. I seek out the experts that don't have a vested interest in it. So I don't listen to Horner when he talks about who's to blame because he's obviously got vested interest in what's in the team. But you look at Niki Lauda, Ross Brawn, other experts that don't have an interest in Red Bull, and that's what you listen to, and that was pretty much what they decided on, that it was Max's fault, majority.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's nothing Daniel could have done differently. Once he made Max move, he's like, right, he's going to stay there. I'll go the inside, and there's nothing Daniel could have done from that point on. Once he'd made that move to the inside, there's nothing he could have done. He was, as Ross Brawn said, he was a passenger from that point on. Once Max moved in front of him, he can't do anything.
And let's look at the history of the two drivers. Just so far in this season, how many times has Max Verstappen done something stupid and run into someone, crashed, spun off in this season? In the three races. Every race. And numerous times in each race. And how many has Dan committed? How many mistakes? How many lockups? How many crashes? You're just nodding. Yeah, you're shaking your head.
Yeah,
there's none. Zero. So I think we can kind of assume that on previous records and experience, we've got a new torpedo on our hands. The new Kvyat. The new Kvyat. He's dangerous. Some say he's dangerous.
I think he, in my eyes, he ranks second to most dangerous drivers at the moment. He's just getting the headlines.
Current drivers or
current drivers? Current drivers. I think it's a silly move, and they are, there's, I don't know, I think there's like 800 employees at Red Bull Racing.
And they've both got to turn up and do a full apology to the entire 800 staff.
Yeah, because, they've knocked off maybe 20 odd points from of their tally.
That's huge. And yeah. So how will it affect the championship for those two guys? I mean, it just puts them, there's still heaps of races to go, but it puts them in a
17 races to go. But, how often is Lewis Hamilton going to miss out on finishing a Grand Prix through contact or through engine malfunction or something like that? It's rarely going to happen. Same with Ferrari. You need something to happen. And these unforced errors, because that's what they are, no one forced them into banging wheels with each other. It was completely their own fault. Daniel tried to make clean moves, but I think Max just had a bit of petulance. And a lot of drivers are saying, Perez is saying, this is similar to what it was for me in McLaren. You're just making a lot of mistakes. And Sebastian, he said, someone was saying to Seb, is it just his youth? And Sebastian's gone, no, he's been in Formula One long enough.
4
he knows
years.
better.
Yeah.
And it's true. He does know better. So, I think hopefully it doesn't happen again.
And being Dan Ricciardo out of contract at the end of the year, how does this play with the contract talks? Does it become... This is a hiccup for Dan. Is he less appealing for potentially a Ferrari and Mercedes-Benz now? Or this is, as most people agree, Max's fault and they're not really taking it on board?
Well, if you compare it with Sebastian Vettel and his overtaking...
in this race? Yes.
His stocks won't be low.
No.
Like, you don't look at that incident and go, well, maybe we don't want him.
We'll keep Sebastian. He's doing some great overtaking right now. He's on fire. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay,
so
cool.
you look at it like, everyone makes a mistake, and Daniel, he committed. And once you commit...
But that's what he's really good at.
And he does it so well. And all the other drivers realize, okay, I've made my defensive move. I'm stuck here. I have to... And you look at Bottas. He nearly did it at China. He nearly went the second move.
He did.
And if Bottas did, game over for both of them.
Yep.
So...
And there would have been penalties and...
Yeah.
Yeah, sanctions.
Yeah. So, you look at it that way. If everyone does their thing and has their part on track and drives in a safe manner, this won't happen. And that's why there's a rule. More than one change of direction to defend a position is not permitted.
Correct. End of story. Judgment has been made. And so let's move on to some other entertaining episodes in the race. So the Red Bulls are gone. What else took your attention? The Vettel move. Can we talk about that overtake Vettel maneuver out of the yellow flag?
He did overtake.
He did.
And...
Kept going.
He just kind of...
locked up. Kept on going.
Just thought, I'll just change the track layout. I'll go straight ahead.
Yep. It's nice over here. What's this? Gravel?
And he was putting on a show.
Yep.
Heaps of smoke and mirrors.
Like a little peacock.
Yeah. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
But he went backwards. Yeah. Wouldn't recommend doing it that way.
Lost what?
Maybe,
2 spots? 3
maybe
spots?
Daniel needs to show him next year how to use the brake in a... and what Daniel said in regards to all the overtaking he did in China, he said, it's not about pushing the brake pedal harder. Because if you push it hard,
You'll lock up.
So, well done, Sebastian. You're a 4-time world champion and you still can't race.
Yeah. Overrated? Much?
I think so.
Lewis Hamilton
he's won
overrated?
4 titles. Like a couple of his championship drives, like in the last race, he has been phenomenal. Coming from either dead last in Abu Dhabi or Brazil, coming back and winning the race or getting into a position where you score enough points to win the championship. That was phenomenal. But when it comes to, if you put Sebastian out in front and he's out in front, there's really not much you can do to stop him. But what happened in the race was Ferrari lost out the same way that Mercedes lost out in Australia. They didn't push enough to get that safety car gap. So Seb was in the lead. He was coasting. And then bang, all of a sudden.
And is he now not the driver that he was? I mean, that we talk about that last World Championship. Yeah, he did some great things. But since then, what's he done? Not much. Has he lost it?
Crickets.
Yeah. So maybe the polish, that shine is gone.
Oh, yeah. I think I'd love to jump on the back. I think he's looking really good. Ferrari looks like the best car, and he will have to screw up properly to not win this championship. For the position he's in now, but he lost the race on the weekend, and he lost the race in China.
Because every time they turn up to a circuit, that car is going to be most likely the fastest car,
and
the
if it wasn't
most balanced car.
If it wasn't for Kimi Raikkonen's wiggle on the last sort of real corner, there is corners after it, but sort of the last braking and turning corner, from there the full throttle. If he didn't have that wiggle, he would have been on pole easily. But that didn't help my predictions.
No.
So then, the other things I want to talk about is Grosjean. He did a fantastic job of crashing into the wall under the safety car.
Nobody does it better. Nobody.
Thank you, Mr. Hooker.
Thank you, Mr. He's very good.
And I heard on the radio
did he blame the wall?
He blamed Ericsson.
Yeah, of course he did.
And Ericsson was nowhere near him.
Yeah.
But when I heard the radio again, I'm like, I don't think that's his voice. Maybe it was an engineer saying, was that Ericsson? No, that was all on his own, warming his tyres and crashing into the wall. I don't know if that's a new tyre warming technique that Haas has invented of just, if we just rub it up against the wall a little bit, it should be nice and warm.
Get up to temperature. Is he the most whiniest, whingiest driver?
No, he really is.
Do you think he's just unlucky that they keep choosing the when he's talking in the car, or it's always the negative stuff? Or is he just... It can't possibly be that whingy in real life. Surely there's some good interaction between the pit crew.
You'd think so.
And they just choose not to play it.
But I was going to say this later, but I'm going to bring it up now. When Grosjean went back to the pits, right, he walked into the garage, and all the mechanics are sitting on stools watching the race. And he walks in on his own. None of them get up to hug him. None of them get up to console him. He even fished for a high five from someone.
Would you like to give me a high five? I was very unlucky.
No, nothing. They just ignored him. One guy, he went for a high five. No one gave it to him, so he kind of patted a bloke on the shoulder. And then he went out the back and chucked his gloves next to a guy who was on his phone and scared the crap out of him. And then he's turned around and he's shooing the cameraman out.
Give me a high five,
but if you go back to Melbourne, one of the guys didn't put the wheel on. So it ruined his race. It ruined Haas's, fourth and fifth what they were running in Melbourne. He went and consoled him and said, "It's all right, mate. It's okay. Next race we'll get back to this. It's okay."
Right.
He walks back in after making a mistake, which ended his race. His own mistake, no one else's. No one consoles him. What a bunch of haarseholes. I'm like, he's there for them, and then they do it. He does a trustful, and they've all just fucked off.
I've never seen you take his side.
No. But I saw the team like, that's terrible. Like, yeah, he's crashed on his own.
Yeah.
No one else's fault but his own. But the same with Terry on the wheel. Terry didn't put the wheel on properly, but he went and consoled Terry and said, "It's all right, Terry.
Yeah.
Next race, we'll get this." No.
Nothing.
Walked straight through the garage. No one fucking looked at him.
Just some awkward...
Yep. Give me a high five. No. I'll pat you on the shoulder. There you go.
Oh, jeez, that hurts.
Nothing from anyone.
See, now I feel bad for him.
I'm like, that's poor.
Because you hear the radio talk and you just think, this guy's an idiot. Grosjean is just whinging and whining like a typical Frenchman. But there's actually, you got to feel sorry for the guy when his team doesn't even support him.
Right now, and what I saw, that was pathetic. From a team.
What a shame.
I'm like, what? For what he did, like you couldn't put a tyre on. And then
remember that? It wasn't that long ago, guys.
It wasn't that long ago. No.
Did you offer high fives? And I mean, was he getting high?
He
Grosjean?
put his arm around him.
Yeah.
He consoled him. He couldn't even get a pat on the ass. Just walked straight through.
Nothing.
Who just walked?
Anyone? High five me?
No.
Little pat on the bum?
Someone?
Anyone?
He was wanting to be consoled. No one.
He needed someone to hug. He just needed someone. Where's my teddy? Where's my teddy bear? Please. No one is giving me a five. Pass me the teddy. Poor little bugger.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him. That sucks.
I feel sorry for Haas. Like, that's just shit. But I think...
But good call. Bunch of assholes.
Assholes. You should patent that.
What else happened in the race that took your fancy, Luke? There was some. It was just so much. It was just a smorgasbord of
Kevin
goodness.
Magnussen.
Oh,
What do we got to say about suck my balls?
Suck my balls.
He
the Dane.
he offered his balls to so many people in that race.
Offered up on a tray on a silver platter.
On a silver Danish platter.
Yeah.
And turn one, comes out of turn one at the start of the race, lap one. Marcus Ericsson, the stayed-home Viking, is sort of on his left rear. And then he doesn't stay on the racing line. He just starts to drift across the track, making Ericsson lift out. And I don't know
what was he doing out
and
there?
the funny thing, and I'm going to call it karma because fuck that, Ericsson locks up and just steers straight into the side of Suck My Balls. And I'm like, well, dude, you can't just drive across the road.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I was Ericsson and you're in a Sauber, at that point he was probably running second last or last, you could get an early flight out of Baku, just drive straight. If he starts going over across, you just drive straight.
Yep.
And if there's contact that's made, you didn't move. You had a wheel in front of him and he's just driven across.
Yep.
And this is what happened on the restart with Gasly.
Yes.
Going 300 k's an hour.
What was that all about?
He didn't shoulder check. Like, you can't shoulder check in a Formula 1 car. That's just a driving reference for everyone at home. He was looking in his mirrors because he knew Gasly was there. He's trying to say that he didn't, and there was vibration in his mirrors. He was looking. He knew he was there. And he just drove straight across the road and made significant contact, damaged his car a lot. Gasly nearly went in the wall. It was front right tyre to left rear tyre. And if one of them backed off, one car would have went in the air. Because they were like, it was one wheel was in front of the other because he damaged the floor so much. And after how is that Formula 1 driving? How is that you're at a level of, you're one of the best drivers in the world? And I rate Magnussen, but when it comes to battling someone, he just goes a little bit too far.
Terrible. Yeah. And speaking of Gasly.
Gas, man.
What about that absolute horrible sight? One of the most dangerous things I've seen on a Formula 1 track that didn't end in death was Kiwi kid Hartley sitting in the middle of the track and the gas man running at 320 k's an hour, his teammate going one way, then the other to avoid smashing it. That was just frightening. And Gasly was like, what the hell this is uncool. What the hell? I almost died.
Yeah.
It was frightening.
Yeah.
And Hartley's like, oh, sorry, bro. Hey, sorry, mate.
Oh, sorry, bro.
I tried to get the way, bro.
I had a puncture and I couldn't see him in my mirrors and I tried to get out of the way, but then he just went around and he was fine. I'm so sorry, boys.
I almost killed him. Sorry, guys. It's like, are you kidding me, mate? That was the most dangerous thing I've ever seen on a racetrack. He was basically sitting in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And Gasman had to maneuver at 320 k's an hour not to kill himself.
Yeah. When Gasman came up to him, he kind of went to the left and I was like, why are you going to the left? Like the racing line's on the right. Yes, he's in the middle of the road, but there's enough space on the right. But he went left, which made it even more dangerous.
Yeah. Dicey.
And then you see Hartley's gone, oh, I'll get out of the way now.
I mean, they must have missed by centimetres.
Flies foreskin, mate. Flies foreskin.
Absolutely.
That's how close. And that would have been big. That would have been both cars written off in Q1 in qualifying. They both didn't qualify because they didn't get a good lap because of that incident. Hartley brushed the wall, got a puncture, and Gasly ran very long and very deep into that corner, ruining a set of tyres just to try and avoid the back of Hartley, who was in the middle of the road.
Pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, wouldn't recommend it.
So, can we get some winners and losers from the race, in your opinion?
And losers.
Yeah. Who punched above their weight category? And I didn't warn you of this winners and losers thing.
So I've already got one.
Well,
pre-written.
Sergio. What about Sergio?
Sergio is what I've written.
The
Bravo.
Tijuana Tussler. Tijuana Tesla.
Tijuana testicles.
Testicles Tuesday. Holy Testicle Tuesday,
Don't
Batman.
tell Magnussen about that.
He was on fire.
If there's a sniff to snatch a podium, he's there.
Or Dan.
Force India's there.
Yep.
And
he's always one that turns up.
Yep. Got on the podium in 2016. Got on the podium a few days ago.
There's talk about him being good enough to go to Ferrari. No.
Not a chance.
He's not that good. He just turns up occasionally. Don't get too excited. But it's great to see it.
Well, it is good. And it's funny, I was watching Sky F1 during the weekend, and they asked Otmar, who's one of their chief guys at Force India, and they said, "Oh, how is it different this week to last?" And his quote was, "We put some go fast bits on the car." Which begs the fact. Why didn't you put the go fast bits on the car in Melbourne?
What's with the go slow bits from last week? Why did you put that bit on?
What are the go slow bits? Or why doesn't every other team put some go fast bits?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem with Williams. They haven't put the go fast bits. They're like, we left him in the truck. We forgot to bring him out.
The team talk. All right, guys, let's get together. So this race, good luck out there, guys. Ocon, come on. Pull your finger out. Now, we've got some go slow bits. We're just going to put them on your car.
What do you reckon? Go slow bits? Anyone?
Yeah,
Anyone keen for that? No.
Perfect. Let's go, guys. Go get them.
And hey, we're slow. Yes, we are.
Yeah, we've got the go slow bits on.
Ah, that's right. The go slow bits were on.
Forgot about them.
But yeah, they've put the go fast bits on. What happened?
That's technical.
Goes fast.
It's a technical term.
Very technical.
Yeah, the Germans. Engineering masterpiece.
But you can see in the midfield there's no set order. You know, Renault, Force India, not so much Williams.
No.
Not so much Sauber. Sauber did really well on the weekend with Charles Leclerc finishing
He was
sixth.
great. He was really good.
Sixth?
Yeah.
That's epic for them.
That's epic.
But yeah, when you have their McLarens, your Toro Rossos, you know, they've all had turns at doing a decent job. But yeah, in terms of my winner this weekend, it's definitely Force India. It's not Lewis Hamilton, who was the winner.
Way above their category.
Way above his weight. If Ocon didn't crash into Raikkonen, he just steered into him. If that didn't happen on lap one, maybe my little prediction of a Force India getting on the podium and being Ocon.
Yep. You were so close. Just the wrong teammate. But you picked it. You picked the team, just the wrong driver.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
Yeah.
But a really good effort considering, as you mentioned last week in Effing What? That section, the segment that you invented there, and talking about the team funding, how much money each team has. Force India right down the bottom with Williams.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah, about 110 million euro.
So that means a lot for that team to get on the podium. That's massive.
Oh, considering for the last couple of years they've been in fourth in the Constructors' Championships for the little budget they have, that's a great result from them. If it wasn't for their results and their design of the car, finally putting some go fast bits on it, they would struggle to continue to race in Formula One. And my disappointment of the weekend, the loser of the weekend.
Well, Red Bulls aside,
it's not just Red Bull because, well, you know, they shot themselves in the foot. But Grosjean, and this was a bit that I mentioned about Grosjean going into pit lane, no love, no one gives a shit about him, and he just.
So you're more upset that he didn't get any pat on the back and any support from the team rather than hitting the wall. You've turned around.
As you know, you win as a team together, you lose as a team together.
It's an emotional.
And Haas is doing a lot of losing as a team together.
They're very good at that.
Oh, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think, you know, Williams has been taking note of this.
But I've seen a sensitive side to you, Luke, that I've not seen before today.
Yeah.
And it's a sympathy towards
He just wanted to be held.
He just wanted to be... He's a man that wanted to be held, and you know exactly what that's like.
I know exactly what that feels like. Just to walk around trying to give people high fives and you just awkwardly brush their shoulder.
You're always awkward to high five.
Come on, high five. High five, everyone.
No,
just
Luke,
touch me.
Just touch my shoulder.
Touch it. Touch it.
And take your hand off my ass, if you wouldn't mind. Well, I think that's a good time to wrap up that dissection of that race in Baku. Anything else to add before we move on to the championship points to see who's leading?
Well, I'm going to give you a full rundown of the race finish.
Yep.
It was Hamilton, Raikkonen, Perez, Vettel, Sainz, Leclerc, Alonso, Stroll, Van Dorn, Hartley with getting a point. And the rest.
Did Hartley deserve a point after what he did? Not really.
No, but he pinched one. He got his first point. And then it was the Viking Gasman, Magnussen, Bottas out of the Grand Prix. Grosjean hitting the wall. Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo with their little coming together. Hulkenberg hit the wall all on his own.
Oh, that's the first mistake he's made in forever, though. Go easy on him.
No. For this year, yes.
But what a costly one.
Yeah, he could have had...
He
like,
had
when
podium written all over him.
He overtook Daniel, he overtook Max, he was on his way, charging up towards
The Renaults
Sainz.
were looking pretty sexy
They were
out
looking
there.
good on those hypersofts,
Yep.
but once they pitted, they went backwards. And then you've got Hulkenberg, crashing in. Ocon, just turning in. He didn't see the Ferrari there, which I don't know how you didn't see a big red car beside you. I know visibility is not great from the side, but in your mirrors you're going to see a big chunk of red. And they're not going to just brake. You need to go too wide in the corner. It's a corner you can. And Sorokin, who, I'm sorry, but I think it was unfair of him to get a penalty for what happened between him and Hulkenberg. They said it was the incident between Hulkenberg and Sorokin at turn 2. The footage I've only seen is Sorokin being a sandwich between Hulk Honey and the Fonz.
Right.
And Hulk Honey thought he'd sort of made the move in front, cut back across, hit Sorokin, which pushed him in to Alonso, gave him contact, and then that kind of made Hulkenberg swerve back across and hit Alonso again.
Yeah.
Giving Alonso a couple of... But I don't think that a 3-place grid penalty was fair, considering he was...
And it certainly looked
the
like
meat
he
in that
got
sandwich.
sandwiched big time, didn't he? He
Yeah.
had nowhere to go.
He couldn't disappear. And maybe something happened
Further back?
earlier on in that corner, but I've seen no footage
Right.
of Sorokin doing anything deliberate or...
Little rough on the Rusky? A little bit rough?
A little bit rough. A little bit rough
3
on
spots.
the
But then again, 3 spots where he was going to be qualifying next week isn't that far away.
No.
He was going to be in
No.
the back anyway.
Yeah, he might go from 19th back to 20th.
Yeah.
That's okay. Hartley will jump up a spot.
Yeah, there we go. And have a chance to kill someone else.
Yes.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so championship lead. Can we take a look at who's leading individually? What is it? Sebastian? No, it's Lewis.
Lewis takes the lead.
Lewis takes the lead.
70 points. The finger boy Vettel, 66. Last lap Raikkonen, 48. The other Finn is 40 points. The personality scored 0 points and stays
now
on 37
just think
points.
where the personality would be had he have finished on the podium where he should have finished.
Yeah. And I'd like to point out that Valtteri Bottas wouldn't have run the race wouldn't have had an opportunity to win the race if it wasn't for Red Bull crashing.
And I'd also say, regardless of where Valtteri was, he wouldn't have won.
And
Even if he
didn't.
was 10 seconds in front of the next car on the last lap, he would find a way to lose.
He would. Because he's not going to make. And again, he found himself in the lead of a Grand Prix and didn't have to overtake anyone. Bravo.
Yep.
Bravo.
Well done, sir.
Then you've got Alonso, Hulkenberg, Verstappen, Perez, and Sainz rounding out the top 10. The rest I don't care about. Teams. Well,
It would be.
it's really only between 2 teams.
Yeah.
Ferrari on 114, Mercedes on 110, Red Bull 55 points, so he's half the points behind Mercedes. So these
Imagine where that could have been, Red Bull.
Yeah.
You know?
Then
55
McLaren,
points.
Renault, Force India, Scuderia Toro Rosso, Haas, Sauber with 10 points.
Hey now.
Imagine if Haas had scored some points in Australia.
Wow, double, yeah.
Well done,
Double
Terry.
retirement. Nice one.
And Williams, 4 points, getting their first.
Gee, haven't times changed for Williams?
And that was that was their first points of the year, thanks to Lance Stroll.
And that takes us into the next race. Before we get there, we've got some awards to hand out, Luke.
We do this
Because it's awards time.
We've got the awards ceremony.
And it goes like this. It's time for the awards. La 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 la. Da 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 da. Luke and Adam's award ceremony. Na 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 na. Yay! Hooray! And the first award up today for the Baku race is the who wins the Green Award, Luke?
The Green Award.
Who's got the smallest carbon footprint in this race?
Well, it was a tie. It was a tie between Sergei Sorokin and Esteban Ocon, as they both crashed out at turn 1. Oh, sorry, lap 1.
Two contenders.
Two contenders.
For not impacting the environment whatsoever.
They both decided, you know what? Today, I'm going to save the environment. They probably went and planted a tree afterwards because they had nothing else to do.
Good on them.
Such forward-thinking people.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Saving the world. And who is the award going to this week?
I know.
Is it a tie?
It's a tie.
Oh, it's a tie.
They both get it because both.
Oh, I thought you were going to choose one.
Because Esteban.
We can't just have a tie, can we?
Well, there's no other option. Like, really, they had.
All right. It's just
Nico Hülkenberg had 41 laps.
It's a hard award to split, Luke.
It is.
And
normally it's between a team.
It's on our Instagram page. We can't share that. I guess they could look at every second day they could look at it and go, that's our award.
I'm going to put both of their photos on the award because they both had 51 laps of fuel still left in their car, and Esteban,
you're right.
His teammate got on the podium, and Sergei's teammate scored points, so they were both on lead laps.
It would be unfair to choose
Williams
a winner.
or Force India.
No,
and
you're right.
Force India got a podium. But then Williams got their first points. I'm going to have to give it to drivers. This took me a while to try and. How am I going to do this? Because even with the Red Bulls having a double DNF, which they have won a green award before, it was only 24 laps of fuel that they saved. So Nico Hülkenberg saved more with 41 laps. But yeah, I have to give it to him.
Hey, no, let's do that. Let's lock it in.
Sometimes that happens.
We'll put both their names on the green award on the Effing One Podcast Twitter page. Check it out. The green award for the smallest carbon footprint award. Well done, fellas. Another award that we need to hand out is the Yuji Ide Award.
Oh, well done.
Did I
you
say
said
that?
it well.
That's the first time I've said that right.
That's the first time you've said it.
Normally I just say Ide because the first part I can't say. Yuji.
So Yuji Ide Award.
The Waste of Time Award, they call this.
Now,
who wasted everyone's time out there?
Again, I'm going to leave this to you to decide.
Okay.
Because Red Bull Racing didn't finish, both cars, 0 points. Haas didn't score a point. Now, who do you give the...
Who wasted our time?
I'm going to go and lean towards Haas.
Me too.
The reason being is Magnussen got no points and he's still driving around. He's still driving around now. And Grosjean crashed into a wall.
Yeah.
Like not even battling for position under safety car.
That is pretty sucky.
So I'm going to give it to Haas.
Good idea. And I would also add to that, as a side note, that Red Bull gave us some entertainment.
That's right.
So you can't exactly say that was a waste of time because we were transfixed.
If it wasn't for Red Bull Racing, that would have been
a kind of dull race.
Yeah.
They
threw in a safety car. They threw in some
Barcelona
overtaking.
dull or Adelaide.
That's what we've got to look forward to.
Adelaide? Yeah, it goes back. It goes back a few years.
That's a good race, Adelaide.
That was a great track.
I'd be happy to go back there.
It's a great circuit. Good road circuit. Yeah, Melbourne's a bit dull. Not much overtaking.
No. Good Slovakia, though.
Very good. Good Greek population down there, Luke. Good. Well spotted, sir. Okay, so congratulations to... Sorry, who got the...
Haas.
Haas. The Haas will be on the Effing One Podcast Twitter page. Check that award out. And we have another award.
Yes. We're just pouring out awards.
Awards left, right and centre, Luke.
Such a giving podcast.
This is a new award that you came up with, and it's yet to be implemented. We mentioned it last week. Now we're going to lick it, and we are going to send it award. The Lick It and Send It Award. Best overtaking move.
Now, who do you think? Who would you like to see from that Grand Prix? Who got the best overtaking maneuver? It clearly wasn't Sebastian Vettel.
I was going to say, no.
Because he did the opposite.
No. I would say...
The poor attempted.
And it's not Max, because Max just ran into his teammate.
He did a dinky move.
Yeah. I would say... I'm just running through my head right now.
There's a lot of overtaking.
There's a lot of overtaking. It was... Since Dan did some good moves as well. He did some good overtaking. I can't pick one.
Then you had the Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, that was good.
Made a nice little move, but I think in terms of technical ability to get a pass done, I think Daniel Ricciardo's move on Max Verstappen around the outside and made it stick.
After being rammed into once.
Yeah.
Was that the pre-ram?
Just before pits.
Yeah.
When he finally made it stick, I'm like, that's a good move. He perfected
on
it.
The outside. And then he had to do it all again.
Yeah. Nothing diver down the inside. He tried that. But there were, a lot of ones, some of the stuff that the Renaults did was impressive, but it wasn't to the ability of going around the outside.
He's the master. He's still the master.
Yeah, the overtaking master. He made He made the lick it and
To lick it and send it. He did it.
We should just give it to him every race.
Well, he's the only one that can really overtake.
Yeah.
He's the only one that knows how to do it properly. The next award is a brand new award, the Effing One Podcast Award. Luke, you're going to be handing this out for drivers that are making F1 great.
We're going with the team. The team that makes the F1 great again. And if anyone does anything that you go, you've just made F1 great again.
Yeah.
And that's Red Bull Racing. What they did, let them fight. Every other team wouldn't let that happen. No. Red Bull, have at it, boys. Cause havoc. And, unfortunately what happened, but also by what happened of them crashing into each other, caused the safety car, which caused the kerfuffle at the end.
Yep.
So Red Bull Racing made F1 great again, thanks to their crazy
heart-in-mouth stuff that it was, nerve-wracking stuff. It was great to watch.
I knew it was going to end that way.
Writing was on the wall, wasn't it? But you couldn't peel yourself away from it. You could not look at it.
I literally couldn't peel myself off the couch. I was very sweaty.
I was trying to peel you off, and it was hard.
Giant
like a
spatula.
With a giant spatula, and you weren't helping. It was hard to get you off that sofa. And then you were crying a lot. There was a lot of tears, a lot of whining and
wailing. That was purely for Grosjean.
Yeah. That was because Grosjean couldn't get a high five in his own pit.
We should just
that was a problem.
Make a video, just slow it down.
Yeah. Feelings. And then have some sad music in the background. Feelings. And another award.
Yes.
We've got awards coming out of our orifices. We've got the Pastor Maldonado Award, the Dangerous Driving Award.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a fair bit of dangerous driving on that weekend.
There was, but only one person was more dangerous than any others.
Magnussen.
It was close. Ooh. Hartley tried to do something stupid in qualifying, but Magnussen, for multiple incidents, it goes to Kevin Suck My Balls Magnussen, because he was very dangerous.
Every lap he was dangerous. Yep. He looked dangerous doing everything. He's
looking to put someone in a wall. Yeah. And there's quotes.
What about Max? Max, he'd have to be a close runner-up.
He would be.
He's dangerous. Every race, he's dangerous.
Yep. But for this particular race, for this one, he gets the Pastor Maldonado Award.
Yep.
The interesting thing, Kevin Magnussen came out saying, "I don't want to die in a race car. I was expressing my willingness to give absolutely everything in my power to achieve success. Success to me isn't having accidents or getting penalties, but finishing races as high as possible."
Yeah.
But
wow.
You're quite happy to kill other people or attempt to kill other people, but you don't want yourself to die.
No. Self-preservation first.
You're fine for what other people say. And I'll show you the article. This was on crash.net.
Fitting.
Yeah. Haas Kevin Driver says he will not hold back from his approach to racing in F1.
Brilliant hair. He has great hair. Good facial hair, but lousy in a car. Lousy in a race car.
So he's come. Other people said he's the most unsporting driver. From Nico Hülkenberg, Alonso said he's
Max Verstappen would be up there.
He said Hülkenberg was right. He said, "I don't like compromises. I'll give everything. I will die in the car."
Ooh, take it easy.
That was his words. I won't hold back. So that's just a little snippet of that one, and that's what his release was saying, that I don't really want to die in the car. But
I had to come back and clarify what he meant by that.
I think he's quite happy to kill other people in the car.
Yep, as long as there's a death, he's happy. Some sort of death in the car.
When we reopen, mid-season, when we reopen the could we change some of the nicknames? Maybe he could be the Undertaker or something.
The Undertaker. Are we going to have a mid-season revamp on the nicknames? Yeah. Revisit that?
We'll go with what we've got. Yeah. And then if anyone's sort of shown more colours to sort of give us a new nickname,
I like it.
We'll have a crack at that.
Yeah.
Put it out to people on Twitter.
I like it. Now, we also had a chance to have a chat to a couple of drivers via Skype when they're in the green room after the celebrations in their motorcade, wherever they were. And I think you had a chat to Sebastian, and I had a brief chat to Lewis.
Sebastian, yeah.
That's right. I was quite nervous talking to Lewis because he's kind of a big deal, and he's Mr. Hollywood. He's Mr. Douche Canoe. He can come off a little bit, prickly. But I think we should have a little play of that audio, see how it sounds. Yep. Have you got that there for us?
Yep.
And push the button there. Lewis, it's Adam for Effing One Podcast. Absolute honour to have you on the podcast. And the race today, absolutely brilliant. First, you didn't really expect it though. How do you feel about that win today?
Well, I was standing on the podium, believed the Valtteri could have been standing here because I felt that he'd earned it. So it's different, definitely different because you don't feel that. You feel that someone else has earned the day. It's just, I like to win a race on merit instead of this,
Lewis, I got to say that you sound much more pleasant talking to you like this than you do when we're watching you on TV. So thank you very much for your time. Congratulations, Lewis. And what are your chances for the rest of the year? That this now puts you right up there. Do you think you can win the title this year?
Well, I want to win it if I can.
Thanks, Lewis.
But if... you want to...
Yeah, we're wrapping up now. We're calling from Australia. It's expensive. Thanks, Lewis. Bye. Wow, there you go. That was Lewis Hamilton live on Effing One Podcast. It was an honour. I was a bit nervous. I felt like I was talking too much. You know, when you're interviewing someone really important and got sweaty palms. I just felt like I really stuffed that up, that interview.
It happens sometimes.
It can happen. It gets to. But gee, he sounds a bit different.
He sounded a bit down. He
did sound a little.
Remember that cartoon character, Droopy Dog?
Yeah, does sound a little bit like
That's
Droopy.
not very nice. Kind of like that.
Like that.
Yeah.
Very much like that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good impression of Lewis Hamilton you can do. That's really good. You're really good at that. And then you had a chance to speak to Sebastian, who, of course, did not have quite the race that he was hoping.
No. But
how did that go?
But I'll hit the play button again.
Cool.
So Sebastian,
hi.
How was your... Well, hi.
Hi, Luke. What are you doing? You look so fantastic. It's always nice to chat to you.
Always lovely to chat with you.
I love chatting to the Effing Fun Podcast. You guys are uber groovy, yeah? Oh, wow. So by the way, you are so much cuter than the other guys that you work with.
No. Hey, Adam's a very, very pretty man.
He's a douchebag, I tell you what. He's a bore and I like you.
I'm glad. I'm really happy to hear that. And
you know what's really weird, Luke?
Comments.
Before you ask me the really important question, how are you still single? I mean, come on. It's crazy. Look at those trousers. You fill them out like two little eggs in a hanky.
They're not trousers, mate. I'm not wearing pants. That's just tan lines.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, Luke, please shoot. Go ahead.
So how was the race for you today, Sebastian?
Yeah, look, it was I was really hot out there. I was attacking where I made the little oopsie daisies. You know, this little turn.
You did make a bit of a mistake.
I made a oopsie daisies. Let me talk you through it. So I was really hot. I was coming in fast, uber fast. And I just kind of went in too deep, you know? I went in too deep, too hard. I lost control. And then I just got off. I got off and it was a mess. It was everywhere.
It was a mess. It was a smoking mess.
Horrible. Cleaned up my mess and I went back.
And you finished fourth. That's all right.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It's not too bad, Lucas.
Thanks so much for your time,
Hey,
Sebastian.
keep up the good work, guys. Loves the Effing One Podcast. Bye-bye.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Thanks,
Wow,
thanks, Sebastian.
Sebastian.
He does a quick hand to my room.
He's handsy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, he likes you.
He really does. I wish I didn't have to do those interviews every week.
He makes you feel uncomfortable. He always does.
Oh, yeah, but, there's...
He's a married man with kids.
He is.
It's hard to tell sometimes when he chats to you.
Not with that haircut. He's not setting a good example for those kids.
Speaking of haircuts, Lewis Hamilton.
Oh,
is that the worst?
cornrows.
Is that the worst haircut you've ever seen?
Did you see him scooting through the...
I'm going to call him Kanye
paddock?
soon.
Oh.
Call him Kanye.
He's living up to the douche canoe.
Isn't he?
But I saw him on the scooter and he looked very effeminate.
Yeah.
I think he should drive for Force India, the amount
Williams?
of pink he was wearing the other day.
Yeah.
And not that there's anything wrong with that. You can wear whatever colours you want, but
But just have a decent haircut. I mean, a $10
a grown
haircut.
man on a scooter?
And cornrows? Come on.
Grow up.
Anyway, the worst haircut. We should have a worst haircut award. That's the next one that we could do. And the predictions and scoreboard. Can we take a look at the ongoing tally of the predictions that we've made?
Now, I was very generous to you.
Thank you. I was 2 points in front in the last race.
And you remain 2 points ahead.
Oh, yes.
But purely for my generosity, you tipped Perez. I tipped Ocon.
Yep.
Perez out-qualified Ocon, so we both got a point there. But I thought, since Perez made the podium, I'll give you an extra point.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that, Luke.
I don't. I really don't.
But you did.
But I did because I thought, it's a podium. It's Force India. I've got to give you something.
Yes.
But, yeah, so I remain 2 points behind.
Well done. And we will have more predictions in the Barcelona race coming up very soon. A big thank you to your mum, Mrs. Luke, for the wonderful spread that she's put on today.
I'll never get used to you saying Mrs. Luke.
Mrs. Luke, she is a lovely lady, your mum. Boy, oh boy, we just love. She's our number one fan.
She is.
And we've just given her an Effing One Podcast Making F1 Great Again hat that she's been hanging out for. So enjoy that, Mrs. Luke.
She was even willing to pay for it. And I said, no.
No,
Happy
no,
Mother's Day.
No. Oh, what a son. What a son. That's the Mother's Day present that means the... And with the attachment, if you do, should we clip on the attachment for your mum?
Yeah, we'll give her the reality headset.
Better than virtual reality?
Oh, much better.
The reality.
So tangible.
Reality.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just a pair of flip-down sunnies. But when you tell people they're reality, you say, see virtual reality? This is the next level up.
Yeah.
This is like real life.
This is real life. There's no extra lives in this one. If you walk in front of a bus, you will get hit by a bus.
How cool is that, kids?
So
hey.
So just that's a warning for anyone wearing the reality headset.
If you stand in front of a bus and it looks like a bus, it's a bus.
It's a bus,
and you will die. Yeah. There's no coming back from that.
No.
So be careful with your reality attachments. Is that baklava? Did your mum make baklava again?
She always makes baklava. Actually,
what is that? What did she make? What's this one? Is that a melting moment cookie?
That's all lamb.
It's made entirely.
All of that is lamb. It's just shaped into a variety of different things. That's what she does.
So considerate.
She goes, I know what they'll think they want, but we know Adam just wants lamb.
Yeah.
So that's
it's Baku,
a lamb melting moment.
Azerbaijan, it's the Middle Easty area. They love lamb.
Yeah.
And is that, so the melting moment, that's not cream, that's just garlic sauce?
That's garlic sauce.
In the middle of it?
Of course.
Clever.
I hope it's garlic sauce.
Your mother is clever. Any last comments, Luke, before we disappear?
Not really.
No?
No.
All right, well, Barcelona in España is coming up. That's the next race, Luke.
It is.
That's going to be awesome. Muy bien. Muchas gracias. Is that what we say?
I think they do.
I think that was Spanish.
Yeah.
So join us for the next Effing One podcast as we preview the Barcelona race. Get hold of us for comments and tell us what you like, what you don't like, or just say hi at Effing One podcast Twitter page.
Come by and say hi.
Yeah. Thanks, Luke. And thanks, Luke's mum.
Thanks, Adam.
We'll see
Thanks,
you soon.
Mum.